So for anyone who doesn't know what seed cycling is, basically there are different types of seeds in your diet that people will include in salads or dals or wherever. So there is sunflower seeds, there is flax seeds, which is zavos that you call in Marathi. There is a lot of, yeah, she's actually given her email ID in the chat, Ishita. Yeah. So just cycling through these seeds in the month, there are some thoughts or some work that has been done, which claims that these seeds help the usual process of ovulation by balancing out hormones, because each seed gives you different like supports different hormones or different parts of the menstrual cycle. So sesame seeds or til is also one that has been discussed, but Karen, definitely Ishita will get back to you on that.
So it's funny because I was actually discussing this with a colleague. Unfortunately, so there are certain calcium-rich foods. We have like the sesame seeds. There's some amount of there's broccoli that you can have. You have almonds, and of course for non-vegans you have the milk and dairy products. But now we need to look at. You can say that these are calcium-rich foods, the vegan foods. But the problem is, look at the quantity you're eating them in. You need around, let's say you need a certain amount of calcium in the day, which you will get from 1 cup of milk, but you won't get that amount of calcium from the little seeds that you're eating or from the little broccoli that you're eating. You're probably going to get like 34 grams of calcium from that broccoli that you're going to be eating, when you actually need much more than that. So I'd suggest that you go to a proper a qualified dietitian, so that they can enhance your calcium intake in these proportions, because we can say that these are certain calcium-rich foods, but how much are we actually eating of those in the day? You know, it doesn't add up to that 1 cup of milk or whatever. But as a dietitian is supposed to help you with your vegan diet. So if you go to them, they'll definitely help you. They may even suggest some supplements. It depends on your lifestyle.
I have actually heard that and also read in my textbooks that ragi or nachni
has a good amount of calcium.
Yeah. Is that true?
Yes, it does. It has a good amount. But then again, we're looking at quantity. You're just going to be having 2 nachni rotis. Does that have the same amount of calcium that a cup of milk or 2 cups of milk?
Yeah.
So we need to start looking at that as well. Yeah. So it's a very depends why you're getting those cravings, right? Is it that you're under eating in the day? Is it that you're not eating a good amount of calories in the day? Is it that you're sleeping late in the first place? So it's a natural thing to feel hungry after 3 to 4 hours of your dinner. So it depends on that. And then it again depends on the gaps in your diet. So you have to just kind of fill it. So if you've not had enough protein, you've not had enough carbs or whatever, we can fill it in that way. It's a very individualistic thing. I cannot tell you what to eat just like that on a webinar.
So what's your overall thing if your patient has cravings at night? You would talk to them about
I would look at their day. I'll look at, are they eating enough in the day? Because then the night cravings is just a biological craving to get the adequate calories that the body requires, right? And then I would adjust. It depends on the time they sleep. It depends on the time they wake up. I would adjust the calories accordingly in that night meal. Usually people would have, and this is again a very broad thing, you could suggest, let's say, a cup of milk with, let's say, like if you want, it depends. If they have less, if they're vegetarian, they can have a protein supplement with that cup of milk. It could be nuts, it could be a fruit, or it just depends on what they're eating through the day. It's very different for different people.
Got it. Can you treat, and I'll let you answer this and add to it, can you treat PCOS nutritionally?
No. Short answer, no. It's, as you would also, I think Renuka would be great to answer this question, is that, firstly, food is an adjunct. It's not medicine, right? So because PCOS is something that has to do with the hormones being imbalanced in the body, what the medicine does, and I think that's the lowest hanging fruit, and I think we spoke about this last time also, it's the lowest hanging fruit to make sure that that one part, or the insulin resistance part of your PCOS, is being managed. Then coming ahead and going ahead, then we start balancing the food, then we start seeing what you're eating, the quality of the diet, etc. But that is a supportive kind of adjunct therapy to the main medicine therapy. And I think a lot of nutritionists get that wrong, if I may say so.
I was going to say thank you for saying that, because I don't know why it's in everyone's heads. Also, so with PCOS, it depends on what you want out of your treatment, how fast you want it. So if your goal is to have kids, then you are on a timeline. If your goal is to have kids in the next year, when you are on a certain timeline and then you need medicines for that. If you're really having irregular periods and you really are concerned about it, you have work commitments and things that make it really hard to deal with unpredictability, then you're going to need medicines for that. With PCOS, your treatment largely depends on what you want out of it. As far as treating the cause goes, diet and activity and lifestyle modifications are a big pillar of recovery from PCOS, or I should say managing PCOS symptoms and keeping them under check.
Yes.
Huge. Yes. So please focus on everything that she said today. 100% it would affect your managing your PCOS symptoms. Will it take care of them fully? No. But it will definitely help in managing symptoms. And really thank you for saying that. Anybody that has other risk factors for a disease, that they're scared that the increase in weight is going to push them into having that disease. How do people maintain that healthy attitude? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's going back to the first points that we spoke about, is that if I'm eating if I'm eating a balanced diet for the most part, and if I'm if I'm eating a good, let's say we're eating more whole grains, right? So whole grains would be atta and less maida. We're eating, again, I'm not saying no maida, I'm not saying all of that, I'm just saying we're eating more, we're crowding our diet with more of the whole grains, we're crowding our diet with more of the proteins, and automatically your risk also reduces. If I'm exercising, and how do I exercise or keep regular and exercising? If I'm enjoying my exercise, that it all comes back to the same thing. So yeah, and that one cake or whatever is not going to make you more prone to that disease for sure. It's what you're eating in the long run. Oh, it's required to make almost all the hormones in your menstrual cycle. So if you're not having adequate fats, you're probably also devoiding your body of the proper production of all those hormones, which will kind of get your entire menstrual cycle, it'll get haywire. Am I right?
Yeah. So they are called steroid hormones, and a reason why they're called steroid hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone, your cortisol, which is your inflammatory, like it responds to infection in your body if it's going overhead. All these hormones' basic structure is made of a cholesterol molecule, and that is why they're called steroid hormones. That's where the fat comes into play.
So unfortunately, there's not too much of scientifically, there's not too much of a correlation with your skin kind of acne and a certain type of food group. A lot of people, and if this is what you mean with the whole dairy aspect of it, it's not scientifically proven. It's only been proven for a very, 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 very small amount of people, which cannot be be an overall rule. So you don't have to limit or remove anything. I think things that actually affect acne are definitely the entire lifestyle per se. It is, again, at what stage of your menstrual cycle you're on, are your sleeping patterns, your stress levels, there's so many other multifactorial things that affect your acne and your skin health and your hydration especially. I think we need to start drinking more water. That should be one of the checklists, in the day, that we're having at least 2 1-liter bottles of water at least in the day. It's very multifactorial. So it depends what the bloating is. Everything I keep saying, it depends, but it depends why the bloating is caused, right? So if it's something like if it's the bloating or your stomach is increased in size after meal, that's absolutely normal. You don't have to do anything about it because that's what happens. It sounds like a balloon and it'll bloat. If it's a few days before your period, congratulations, your body's working really well. Bloating is normal when it's a few days before your period. It depends, or if you've probably had something you've had like a salty meal, or you've had a salty snack, maybe that also increases bloating in the body, but not too much to such a great extent. Of course, if you feel like it's a problem, if it's hurting, if you feel like it's more than usual, you have to definitely consult a doctor as well as a nutritionist. But again, they're very different causes and the different solutions to all of them.
My contribution to this question is going to be 2 things. One is, and Ishitaa, you can possibly add on this, is that a lot of people want to give up dairy because of a dietary reason, but also there is this factor of lactose intolerance that comes in. And 1/3 of Indians are said to be lactose intolerant from the last studies that I read. So that's one of the possible causes why you can have bloating.
Yeah.
Is if you're truly lactose intolerant.
Yeah, that's what I said. If it's something that you feel that it's causing a huge, problem in your life where it's actually paining, or it's to a point where you feel that there's something wrong, you definitely have to consult a doctor. they will do the test. So they will do the lactose intolerance test, they will do the gluten intolerance test, and then you'll be, you'll have to be assisted nutritionally, etc. But you can't do anything. You shouldn't take matters in your own hand.
Yeah. Also, if you have different kinds of meat from outside, sometimes a worm infection, which is not super serious, but you could have a worm infection that shows earliest signs as bloating. So your doctor can also recommend like a deworming tablet for you, which is a single tablet. You take it at night, nothing, not a big process. But if you're someone that eats a lot of meat, maybe this is something you want to consider.